Okay, so it looks like I have gone live in StreamYard. This might be a challenge this evening because my Facebook accounts are down, as they are in lots of the world, I think. And so I've no idea how many people will or won't be watching, or how many people will or will not join. I'm assuming probably that it's still working on YouTube, as that's a separate platform rather than anything else, and that it'll have gone live in parts of the world where Facebook is back up and running. Good evening, Jan. Thank you. That's reassuring. I still have no access to Facebook, so could you please share this live to my Facebook account? I am completely locked out, as are lots of people. So it's nice to know that people are watching. Can you just confirm that you can see and hear me? Because I've had a bit of a nightmare, because I just cannot access anything to see what's going on. But it is reassuring. I suspect the numbers watching today might not be as good as normal because of the headaches with what's going on. And let me have a little look, because I'm sure I had out some acrylic primer. But there we are. At some point. And it looks like it might just be okay, cool. There be the acrylic primer. Yeah, I tried just before, and it, it wasn't letting me go live. I'm sure it'll sort its way out. Yeah, look, I was on Facebook at the time and it just went, it was just silly. I haven't got it, Liz, I'm afraid. I'm still completely out. It's just not letting me log in at all. So that's a bit of a nightmare, but I think it's coming back. It'll depend on which servers have gone online, I think, and they'll come in bit by bit. And it's, for the moment, we'll just go with the flow. At least we have managed to go live. It looks like... Hello, Christiana. Thank you, my darling, for joining me. We have had a little bit of a stressful afternoon amongst all of this. So I'm going to do a live that I've sort of cryptically called Roses Are Red. I will have red roses. And that's partly because it's Mother's Day in a few days in the UK. So I was thinking about love for your mother. And I thought about the new papers from Stamperia, and more importantly, one of the molds. So I have just got a wooden panel here that comes from Pentart, but any wooden panel would do, or even a canvas. And because it's wood, I am just going to add some primer onto here and hope that ultimately things will will pan out over all, because hey ho, if someone wouldn't mind sharing the live to my own page for me, or to me, so that I can access it when I eventually go back live, that would be lovely. Because you know what the world is like. We all live on Facebook, don't we? Hopefully it will sort itself out. Well, it will do, won't it? And if not, well, that's just part of life. We'll just have to set up a new page. But yeah, there we are. Well, let's let it settle down. I think last time I just left it overnight and then tried to log in when it had all had a chance to settle. So Sarah's saying she can't hear me. So can everyone else hear me? Thank you, Julie. That's lovely, because it is difficult, isn't it, knowing quite what's going on in this mad world that we live in. Hey ho! But at least we have managed to go live, and we've got a good number watching. Hello, Katrina. No idea. There's ladies in Greece, so that's lovely. So some of you, it looks to be back in. Christina is from Pentacolor. She was back in. Thank you, my darling. That's much appreciated. To share there. And we'll just carry on. So I have literally just added some acrylic primer to a wooden panel. It's Pentacolor white acrylic primer, and I've used that because it's wood, and the acrylic primer is thinner than the gesso. Hello Beverly, hi Sheila, hi Blanche, hi Sue, Della, hello Carol. It's going to be more difficult for me to pick up on what everyone's saying and doing, because normally I have my phone running simultaneously, and I pick up a different set of. Oh, sorry, ladies, that's my fault for wobbling my let's just put that, wobbling my camera as I move things around. Hello, Esther, welcome, my darling. So I'm assuming that means some of Hungary's back online. And hopefully mine will get sorted out in the dueness of time. I've seen some worrying reports that some people have had their whole counts go down, posts disappear. Who knows? Who knows? But it will all become clear in the fullness of time. I am sure what's going on. And there's not much I can do about it either. Hello, Juliana. Welcome. Hello, Iona. Thank you. I trust that Greece is well. It'll be quite evening there. It's going dark in the UK. I just want to get this acrylic primer dried now, and then I will be able to, not quite there, add my next layer, because this project is all about layering. And there we are. Hello, Teresa. Welcome. Hello, hello, Charlie. Thank you for joining us. That's lovely. So let me grab another brush. So I'm going to use this beautiful background rice paper from Stamperia. It is a Vagabond Fantasy. And I'm using Decoupage Medium Glue Ultra Matte, which is, but you could use the Silky Shine if you wanted, the regular matte, or I wouldn't suggest we use the glitter one, but there we are. Each is everything, isn't it? There we are. Hello, Teresa. Welcome. Hi, Faith. Good evening. Good evening. There we are. So it's very strange having had an afternoon without Facebook, but hey ho, there we are. It will sort itself, because there's always solutions, isn't there? There's always solutions. There we are. There we are. But as you know, I'm not the most tech-happy individual. So when things go around, I usually blame myself rather than anything else. But hey-ho, there we are. So we've now got a good layer of Decoupage Medium Ultra Matte on there. As I say, you could use pretty much any, I think, will work for this. It doesn't have to be... And I know it's just missing the very top of there. Oops, I do want it not to be missing that side. So let's just reposition that. The joy of a nice rice paper, or a nice quality rice paper, is that it's solid enough for me to be able to lift it up, pop it down, and then we'll spread from the bottom out. Yeah, that's a bit better. We can ink those edges. Let's just pop that down. And I'm just going to use the same decoupage glue to seal this, because I'm going to add some extra layers onto here before creating my composition. So there we are. All is cool. So let me just add a goodly covering of this, then we can give it a dry, and then we can build up our layers. I don't want great lumps of glue, because actually if I've got streaks and lumps of glue, that will show on the finished piece, particularly if you are using any of the antiquing products. And I've got a little bit of that planned, not a lot, but a little bit of that. So let's just make sure we've got this properly sealed. The recommendation sometimes I think is to use more than one layer. Let me just swap that so you can at least see my ugly mug. There we are. There we are. We can do that, and we'll shuffle that over. There we are. The joys of technology, you see. We can do lots of different things. But I like this screen size because it gives you a good view of the project, and you can see it from the angle that I'm working at. And I like that as a format because I just think it makes life easier when you can see things in the same way as you would maybe if you were creating. So there we are. Let's just give that a good coverage. Make sure we've covered it. So as I say, sometimes the your recommendation would be that you add 2 layers. Let one layer dry, and then add another layer over the top, so that that's a way of making sure that you don't miss any areas, because any areas that you miss, particularly if you are not careful and add lots of brown and TP, then you end up with horrible dirty marks and it looks awful. Hello Lou, thank you for joining us. I'm glad people have got some taste with that. I don't think it's that for everyone. There we are. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm a bit flummoxed and discombobulated at the moment. As I tried about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes ago to get back, before I started the live, to get back on, and couldn't at that point. But I was still seeing comments in other places that it was back on in some areas and not in others. So I'm assuming that if we're patient, it will sort itself out, because most things do, don't they? So we just need to give this a good dry. Good evening, Jan. Welcome. And when, it's just pain, really, isn't it? It's just a pain, but ho ho. So let me just give this a good dry. So the ultra matte decoupage glue goes on milky, and we'll seal the surface in and we'll dry clear. So I just need to wait for the streakiness that you can see here to settle down. Let me just move that a little bit because I wobbled my camera. And then we can give this a little bit of a stand. Sarah, I so get that feeling. I am so not tech savvy, and the first thing I do is panic, which is, well, it's a response. It's not necessarily the most helpful one. So yes. There. So we'll get there. We just need this to dry, and whilst everything is continuing, we'll be happy. We've got a really good number of people watching this evening, which is fabulous. It's nice to see people watching. So I just need to get this to dry. I am ruffling my peach about a bit because I don't particularly want anything to bubble. So when this is cleared, it will be sorted. It's not a problem, dear, just to be late at all. It will sort. It's always there for watching. All I've done is prime with acrylic primer a piece of wood that actually does have a shaped top, and I'm adding a rice paper to this so that I can see what's going on, which is fine. And then I can add some extra bits onto here, but I can't do that until I've got this bit done. And it's always difficult, isn't it? It's a balance between what we're doing, time, a nice project, and just, you know, and not having too much practice, because actually seeing someone make something from start to finish, I actually think is really, really helpful. Just because I know where I'm going doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else does. So there we are getting there with this bit of it. We do have some drying to do, but I don't think a mixed media type live can be done really without a bit of drying. Let's get that area dry, and then we can concentrate down here. We've still got some streaks of white where it's not who's a happy belated birthday to, Faith? Whose birthday have I very badly missed? Certainly not mine, because that's in December, so that's a very long time to go. Or in the past, depending on where we're up to. We're not quite there, we're not there. There we are. Let me just give this top edge a really good dry, because I want to take a file to it to take off that edge. And I've got my ever so faithful nail file here, because they're just helpful, aren't they? As I say, just because I've got a shaped board really doesn't matter. You could do this piece just as well on a circular canvas or on any rectangular board. You might just, you know, the overall effect will just be slightly different, but it's all achievable. And this one for the ladies in Hungary comes from Pentacolor, so it's here, yeah, so that you'll be able to get it, I think, relatively easily out in Hungary. So there we are. So we now have that piece sorted. Oh, sorry, Sarah. Yes, of course. Oh, gee, she says. Now then. Are we going to have one of those days? Of course we're going to have one of those days, because where we are. So that is my primer for my transparent crackling gel. Blocked, lid blocked. Let's see if that will... Oh dear, just bear with, ladies, bear with. We can get another one of them. We happen to have plenty. So there we are. We'll just grab another one and we'll tackle that one, the opening of that, at a different time. It'll be right. Hubby will be able to get into it, or I'll be able to drop it on the floor and break whatever's causing the problems. There we are. There we are. So I'm going to add some transparent cracking gel. Now I like this because it gives me slightly bigger cracks. That's not completely dry, but it will work for now. And this is a 2-part crackle. Oops, she says, smashing into her camera again. So we're just going to add some crackle medium, some primer at the top of there. We're going to add a little bit at the bottom of there. We can feather it out a little bit, and we're going to add just a little bit across there. So I've got 3 areas that will add to what we're doing. So there we are. We'll pop that there. Well, that's lovely, Faith. Having a break and being in a beautiful part of the world is lovely, isn't it? So let me just add in and get this dried. So as I say, it's a 2-part process for the transparent crackle medium. This first part will go on and will go dry, but we just have to do this to, you know, there isn't any short circuiting this. These when you're doing a live. I guess I could have put it on first, but that just, you know, sort of defeats the purpose of a step-by-step process, doesn't it? If I pop things on and I've done half of it first, which is, you know, well, just not right, is it? If you want to see how something's made, you just need to have to be able to watch it being made. There we are. So let's just. Now I know from the past that sometimes at the top of these, this will go clear, and I can pop the next layer on, and even if it stays white initially, in areas, ultimately, if you just leave it in a irritation, it continues to dry from the, you know, through and through. So if that ever happens when you're using the transparent gel, don't panic. Just pop your project on the side, leave it a 2 or 3 days, particularly if you use a thicker area, and then force dried it, and it will sort itself out for you. I don't want this to bubble. So there we are. And of course, although I would use this as a Mother's Day present because I'm using roses, a universal sign of love, you could make something similar with very different iconography, depending on what your own mum likes. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining me, my darling. I'm still a bit discombobulated, ladies. I'm sorry. I am definitely a technophobic individual, so when things go wrong, it stresses me big style. But there we are. So let's just get these white areas. I've still got a few that I can see. Right, there's a big white strip there. So let me get this dry. It's not that it will hugely matter if I don't get crackle in all of the area, because ultimately, you know, I'm not intending on having it everywhere anyway. So one of the issues with the, like with the transparent crackle is it's going to have a shiny surface, and I've got shiny against matte, and that's okay too, because I can add a varnish over the whole lot when I've finished anyway, to have a uniform appearance. So no, let's just be patient. Jan, that was my thought. Then I thought my Facebook account had been taken down because, yeah, Facebook does some strange things sometimes. So yeah. Good evening, Jill. Welcome, my darling. So that looks like Facebook might be back on it, at least for some servers around Manchester. Because I know Jill is not very far away from me. I shall just leave it all to settle down, I think, is the honest answer. I'm not be too mild. Come on. Yeah, it's like waiting for kettle to boil, isn't it, ladies, when you want paint to dry. Yeah, because the kettle never flipping boils when dries when you want to do it. Right, I think we might have that reasonably sorted. So I have got the second component of the transparent crackle here. Let me just open that and find a palette knife. So I'm just going to apply this with a palette knife, and by applying it with a palette knife, I'm going to get different areas, different textures, different thicknesses, and that will help vary my crackle. And the areas where I haven't got the primer, it probably won't crackle very much. Tends to crackle a little bit, but it's not so stable when it does that. So there we are. So we're just going to add this in the areas approximately where I have, and I don't have a problem with petering it out a bit onto my surface. It'll help even out the shine a little bit. There we are. So let's just add some of this onto here. Oops, she says. You can apply this with a paintbrush if that's what you prefer. That's also perfectly fine. I don't particularly want lots of marks. There we are. So that can go there. And we'll pop that conveniently now out of harm's way on a floor. And I'm just going to pop a heater on so that that can dry in front of that while we do the next bits. So, she says, right, let us grab some wipes to clear with the messy fingers. Pop that over there, and we're going to lid this so it's safe and free from harm, and just have a little wipe down so we don't have too much mess. Excuse me while I just readjust. Not very elegant, I know, but hey ho. Right, so we have two different sets of colorways to deal with for my add-ons. So I have cast pieces from the Vagabond Fantasy molds, and these come from one mold, I think. Yeah, pretty much one mold. It might be from two different molds. There's lots, but they're the soft molds in the collection, and there's lots of blues in this collection. And so as is normal for me, I had a little play with my colorways before I was going live so that I knew that everything was going to work for me and would, you know, look nice at the end of the day. So this is a great color combination. I've chosen to work with the matte acrylics, metallic acrylics today, rather than my normal matte ones. And you might ask, why have I primed everything with black gesso, which is what I have used? And that's because the metallics just have a better depth when they're on black. So that's on black, and this is a white piece, and just typical, it's going to cover. But if you look at this piece, which is white gessoed, and this piece, I think, you know, in real life you can see there is more depth in the colouring of that than there is in this piece that is white. So that's cool, isn't it? So it's a good trick to use when you're using metallic paints, is to prime with black rather than white. So these are just the Pentacolor primer, black primer paste that I've used to prime these pieces. We're going for an opulent, decadent feel for our makes today, because that's what we want, isn't it, for our mothers, or for special presents. I mean, it would work for lots of different occasions. I think it's not purely just Mother's Day, but I think symbols of love are appropriate, aren't they? Not just for Valentine's Day, but also to give to loved ones on special occasions. And a mixed media piece will certainly last an awful lot longer than a set of flowers will. Much as they're beautiful, they just don't last very long, do they, once they've been cut? So let's just add this onto here. There we are. We'll add into here. Here, well, this beautiful sort of, and it's great, you know, it almost looks like a gate holding, doesn't it? But it is lovely. So there we are. Oh dear, that doesn't sound very comfortable at all, Alison. Cast on both legs. That's definitely not a comfortable, because proper casts weigh an absolute ton. So I'm not surprised your legs feel heavy. Not surprised at all. So let's just get this piece covered. So there's lots of molds in this collection, in this collection from from Stamperia, that and of course Pentacolor Pentacolor sell and distribute the Stamperia products in some parts of the world. So that's why I can quite happily name check and use that. So there we are. Good evening, Anna. Welcome, my darling. Welcome. So that metal was the antique gold. And as I say, it's a acrylic paint metallic. So let's just pop those over there. They can have a little bit of a dry. I know where we're going. I'll pop that out of harm's way. And I haven't got, well, I have got my normal 3 tons of moulds, because it wouldn't be me without 3 tons of moulds, would it? Yeah. But hey ho, so let's just pop some of these pieces over there, over there, over there. We'll need that out. They're already done. That needs to be done. There we are. Excellent. And pick up the paints that I'm using. There we are. So let's add the red. So this, well, really put the lids on the correct one. So this is golden red acrylic paint metallic, and the other one is Bourdon acrylic paint metallic. You could do these in flat colours if that worked better for you. It's less of a problem. But I just wanted some tonal colour variation in my pieces, so that's why I've got the 2. And it may not be obvious, but sometimes subtle colour changes really do make a big difference to your pieces. And as ever, I will wet on wet blend. It's possibly better not to double dip your brushes, but next to each other on the mould, I've got an orangey red corally tone with a gold shimmer to it, and some of the darker red. So that can sit there. And just say we'll tackle this one the other way around. Hello Miriam, welcome my darling, welcome. It's much lovely. It's there we are. So we'll just cover some of these. We're going for simple today. We're not going for fine, intricate, detailed painting. Partly because the lives don't really give you enough time for that. But that's also just fine, isn't it? It means that you can make something, if you know the concept of where we're going, relatively easily. Let's just make sure we've got that covered. There we are. They are lovely together. They will just add a variation, because flowers aren't a single colour, are they? They are shades and tones, and a mixture of things on one piece. So I just think sometimes it's nice to be able to mix things up. I didn't want pale. I didn't want pretty pale pinks. I just wanted the richness of the reds in this make. So and I'm not mithered about these steampunky elements at the side being in the red, because they're almost like flower leaves or petals, aren't they? And that's what they'll appear like on the finished piece, I'm sure. So here we are. So we'll just add some of this into these. So on the mold itself, you get this larger floral, but you also get a smaller version with the stem, the single roses, and some of the leaves as well. So I think this mold in particular becomes very, very usable. There are some beautiful other molds in the collection, but maybe less usable than the florals. I mean, I just don't think you can go wrong with floral pieces. But maybe that's just me. I think there's lots of people who would say that cog molds are equally versatile, and they wouldn't be wrong. I think there's lots of people who would use lots and lots of the cog molds quite happily. There we are. So let's just do this. We might then have to give it a little bit of a blast dry before we can do the next bits. My crackle paste is vaguely drying in the corner with its own heater sort of over it. There we are. So there we are. We can pop that over there. That's edges almost sorted. So let's pop that in there. And the advantage of my black undertone is that I will only need one layer for doing this. Biscuits to you, Martin, my darling. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. So let us now, let's give that brush a little bit wriggle in there. Hello, Nicole. Welcome, my darling. Thank you very much. I think it's a reasonable time in parts of the States now, isn't it? It looks like probably the world is getting back to being able to access Facebook, even if so let's hope I can when I go. So this is Golden Touch, which very definitely has a green undertone, because leaves are green, aren't they? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I wanted a green, and this green is keeping within my my decadent feel for a special gift, which is what I was wanting to do. So, I know I did quite a lot of these. Although I've got some here, some to do. I did actually paint some of them just to check the colours and the layering was going to work for me. Now then, here we are. And I didn't have a brown metallic. How bad of me is that? In my ridiculously big stash of things, I didn't have a brown metallic. So, but that's okay, because what I do have is some Decor Metal Matte, she says. Right, so we're not going to be using the Decor Metal Matte. We'll be custom mixing. So if you mix components from the 3 colour families, so red, yellow and blue together, you will get a brown colour. So if I just pop some of that corally red, because that's definitely got red and yellow in it, with some of my green, so my Golden Touch, yeah, Golden Touch, hopefully I'm going to get a brownie colour. Hey, I like it when a plan comes together. So if I mix those together, I've now got a brown shade. And that's just about recognizing that if you put all 3 primary colours together, that's what you're going to get. And in fact, if we compare the colour I have self-mixed with the Chocolate Deluxe paste, you can see that actually we're pretty identical. I do like it when a plan comes together. So I can now add this into here. So it's useful, isn't it? What it means is that you don't necessarily, you can custom colour to suit the mate that you've got, and that's a really, really useful trick to be able to do. Is to, we'll just colour the sides of that. Is to be able to blend and mix your colours so that you don't have to have an eye-wateringly large space in your craft room full of things. There we are. So let's pop that over there. That can go in there. So that is our pieces painted, or at least step 1 of those done. So let me pop that there. Let's just have a little wipe of that. I know it might be sacrilege, but that's going in the bin before I put my mitts in it. And we will now grab a heat gun and, whoops, she says, throwing that onto a computer keyboard. Really, woman? There we are. Let's just give these a goody wash dry before we add our next sets of colours onto these. It won't take forever, I don't think, to get them dry. So we're going to use 2 different products today for for our antiquing. Thank you, Betty. Don't you worry, my darling. I'm just grateful that you've come in at all, and thank you for the sharing of what's going of the piece. That's lovely of you. So let's just give this a goodly wash dry. I will have to grab my face at some point because I'm wanting to add some stenciling into that. But hey ho, with this little lot on here, I haven't got room to do much more for the moment. So we'll just pop these and get them as dry as we can. No cake in my kitchen, I'm afraid. I wish, but no cake in my kitchen, Martin. Oh, yeah. So when you've got moulds that are as intricate as this, one of the headaches when you're painting is that you get thicker layers in the depths, and then if you try adding anything over the top and wiping back, you muddy the top colour up. So it's really quite important at this stage to get these reasonably dry before we carry on. I know where I'm heading, and that's fine. One of the things I found with the metallic paints is that when they're hot, they can still feel slightly tacky. They are lovely roses. They are a Stamperia mould, that is. There we are. Good evening, Lynn. I don't think I acknowledged you here. The kitchen is sorted. The laminate was stripped and has been painted. I've got light fittings going in tomorrow. So let me just get these. So they're feeling slightly tacky. So they're not completely dry yet, which is, they just need to be before we can do much more. So bear with, ladies. It's why I did do some of it up front, because I had a feeling that we might have some of the issues with doing that. Yeah. And I've got a lamb caul sitting in a big pot waiting for me for my tea. Leftover lamb from a roast at the weekend with lots of pearl barley and some chopped up vegetables. Scrummy yummy and some nice stock. Right. Oh, she says, let's take that off there. Let's pop that over there. Let's put those that I don't want the blue on over here. Oh, we definitely don't need that one. That mould doesn't go with that collection at all, at all, at all. So there we are. So this is patina blue antiquing gel. It's a really lovely turquoisey blue. Oh, I love it, love it, love it. I haven't used it for a wee while, but I had lots of people commenting when I did a reel the other day of an older project, that how much they liked it. So I thought I'd get it out and have a play. So the antiquing gel is a water soluble product, and it will wipe back when it's wet, but of course once it's dry it doesn't. So I'm happy that I've had my laminate stripped off and then the whole thing the surface painted. I decided it wasn't worth relaminating, only for the same problem to occur down the road, and I am very happy with it. Very happy with it indeed. So there we are. We can just add this, and you can take back as much or as little as you want. So there we are. So that's what we're going to do. We might add some extra colours onto this moth, but later on. On the other hand, we might not. We might decide that we're quite happy with it, because moths tend to be more of the softer colours, don't they? There we are. So that's that. And we could always add some alternative colourings on the other hand, we don't have to, do we? Because it's, if you're making it for yourself, then you make a project that works for you. It's not so warm in here that I shouldn't be able to add this over the whole piece and wipe it back, but on a hot summer's day, even this piece I would definitely do in stages rather than trying to do it all in together. And I am making sure to get into the nooks and the crannies so that the blue sits in the base of what I'm doing. So there we are. So let's just add some wipes of this over the top, pull back what I want, so I've got texture back showing. There we are. It does help to wipe back with clean bits of your cloth though, not dirty bits. So that one can go into there. We'll wipe our hands, pop this over here. Hubby is doing fine now, my darling. He's home. We've got some cardiac surgery ahead of us. That might sound scary. It probably is. But, and then an operation on his tummy as well. So it's going to be a stressful few months, I think. But there you are. I'm not surprised. I don't think any of us like flying instruments, flying insects or bugs coming close to our face. It's just not very nice, is it? Right, okie dokie. So now we have some blues. That adds links into the to the rice paper that I had out at the beginning. So let's just give these another bit of a waft. Get these dry, because I'm going to be adding a different set of colours onto this this evening, because again, well, I've got the products, and I think it's about experimenting and showing the different effects that you can get. So although I think my roses do have quite a lot of definition because of their shape, I do want the predominant top colour to be the red. So rather than adding wax, which would sit on the top of it and make the depth red, I'm going to use the gold shimmer gel from the Christmas release from Pentacolor to add to these. So hopefully that will be that. So the shimmer glaze is lovely, and you can, as I say, you can use this in the same way as your antiquing gels. So let's just grab another scrubbly brush, because at this stage, for what I'm going to do, it's not very gentle on your brushes. So I do think it's important to not necessarily use your best brushes for doing this. Okay, so literally I've covered it all, and then I'm going to wipe it back, and it will leave a beautiful, beautiful goldy shimmer, and it will sit in the depths of that. There we are. So, and whenever you're antiquing things like this, you need to make sure you've got your antiquing product pushed right into the depths and the nooks and the crannies, because otherwise it's not going to get in there and sit. There we are. So let's just lift this off, and there we are. We can take this off, and we'll have a lovely shimmer, and the colours will come through. I don't want that little bit, whatever that might be. We will just, oh, she says, dropping everything. Here we are. Now, if you wipe over always with the same bit of the cloth, you don't take off, you just spread and you put back on. So there we are. So that, but I do like, don't want that piece of white. Don't know where that's come from. Thank you, Alison. The mould does a lot of the work, and then the key for this is relatively simple painting, albeit I have used 2 different colours, and then adding the antiquing to, you know, help pull everything together rather than it sitting in the depths. I would get a very, very different look if I used umbre or one of the browns to do it. But as I say, I wanted rich and decadent, and I'm not such a sparkly person normally, but I just felt like it was time for a little bit of the sparkle. There we are. So that can go there. And it just the layers just make such a difference when you're doing this, and they're not so difficult. You know, I know I use lots of molds in my pieces. It's almost just become a signature, hasn't it, for what I do? But I'm not using complicated techniques in any way, shape, or form. There we are. Let me just wipe that off. I don't want to use 300 weight of. Got a piece of white there. Let's get rid of that because that won't work. There we are. Cool. But, well, the shimmer glazes, Sarah, will definitely work. They are definitely sparklicious. There we are. Right. Look, she says, you can see from my hands just how sparkly they are without adding glitter. There we are. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, let's have that, get rid of that. And, right. So let's come back to our piece, which has still got white on it. So let me just give this a wee brush to dry. That's beginning to crackle. So my normal mantra would always be with crackles, let it do its own thing in the fullness of its own time. You can heat dry any of the Pentacolor crackle mediums, to be fair, and they will work beautifully. But I do think that you get a better effect if you're just patient. Patience not being my middle name. It's something that I sometimes struggle with. I'll often put crackle on in this top stage of a crackle on at night and walk away from things. I want to do this because I actually want to add some stenciling, and that also is going to need a bit of the dry. I've probably got enough of that dry to grab the stuff that I want to stencil. So this is a stencil from the range that goes with it. Let's see if we can find North. We don't want the whole piece, so that's going to sit over there. And I have a Lagoon Blue Deluxe Paste and Anthracite Deluxe Paste here. And I'm going to be naughty and ombre mix them onto my piece. So I want a piece there. Let me just grab some of the blue. Oops, don't want necessarily quite so much blue because we're not having a big area. Oops, she says. I will pick that back up in a minute. I might have smudged it a bit, but hey ho, who's worrying? add a little bit of that over there. Hey, I like it when a plan comes together. We're going to add, no, we're going to stick with the same icon. We're going to add some of that into here. Ooh, she says there's a big lump there. Don't want the big lump. We're going to add it in a patch of 3. A lot of it might get covered anyway, because that's just the way of the world. There we are. Excellent. That's not perhaps the best set of stenciling in the world, but there we are. And then let's just pop a little bit into that top corner. So let's just grab a little bit more of the blue. I might be getting to the bottom of that pot. Hey, there we are. Let's just add some of that into there. A bit more of the black, because I don't want it as a single colour. And this is going to be subtle, and that's fine. That's really what I was wanting. There we are. So that can go there. That can go there. And I'll pop that up over there. That can go down there for a minute, just while I lid these pots, because I don't want to ruin them. And I also need to clean my stencil, because once the deluxe paste have broken micro beads in them, so they are gritty, and once they will go onto unprimed surfaces and set like concrete. So you can go straight onto glass or plastic without needing to prime, and they will completely work for you. So they're a really good product to have in your stash, but they're definitely not a good product to leave on detailed stencils such as this one, because they will absolutely set in all of the little nooks and the crannies, and that won't make it easy for you using your stencils going forward. And this is about the only time you'll see me doing cleaning a stencil on a live. I normally just stick them on the floor to tackle later on, but for the deluxe paste, they really do need to be cleaned straight away. Otherwise, you will find yourself in trouble. There we are. Cool. So let's just give this a good blast, and we can add whilst the rest of this dries. So the deluxe paste will dry very quickly. I've still got areas of crackle that need to dry. They are getting there. Hello, Miriam. Yeah, I've got some of the stencil cleaner as well, my darling. It is very definitely useful. There is no question about it. So the joy of the clear crackle is that I will be able to see through to all of the details in my paper, through the areas where there aren't cracks, but I can distress the remaining areas and just have some brown lines going through them. I've actually got some antique paste out, Umbra antique paste out to do that with. That's reasonably dry. That's reasonably dry. That's okay. That's okay. So some of these white areas I think might just have to be left to crackle and dry properly post live. In fact, it's not. There's just an opaque area here that I can still see. So So I've now got a brush that has a little bit of white spirit in it, and I'm just going to add it over this in the areas where I've got the crackle and around my stenciling. Remember, I put a good layer of varnish over these before I started. There we are. And by diluting there we are, with just a little bit of turpentine, I can spread a relatively small quantity of my umbre over over a wide area, which is cool. So you can distress as much or as little as you want. And this will be quite subtle, and I think I might end up adding a bit more because my brush has lifted it all off. So bear with me. So let me just wipe some of that off, because before I lifted it off the surface, I could certainly see an awful lot more, and that will be because I've got not enough of the paste and an awful lot of dilutant on my brush at the moment. So let me just add, you can see. So I can see there's lots of crackle, and you're wondering, you've made a right flipping mess of that, woman. There we are. Let's just pick up a paper towel rather than a wet towel. There we are. Excellent. Let's just give that. And whilst it's wet, I can wipe back lots of it. It'll catch around the stencil, and it's catching in all of the crackles. There we are, you can see, and it's just adding just another layer, another set of detail into my piece. Now over here, this is where I've got the paste, and I can see really fine micro crackles. They're very difficult, and that's where I didn't have the primer, and that is cool, fine. That's what happens when you don't have your primer. So we have a plan. Let us just grab some of our pieces. So as ever, I'm going to go and I want a little rose to go onto there, and I want, maybe we'll have a little bit of that, and we'll have a little bit of leaf, and we might put another bit of a leaf under there. So that little rose is then being supported by that. And I think the little rose works fine. We're going to pop our little butterfly or moth over here. Let me just move this so it's better on screen for you all. There we are, because that will work better, I think. We're going to pop this piece here. We've got a big rose and a little rose. So they're going to sit there. And then we're going to do some layering. There we are. Because layering is good, I think. So we'll pop that into there. Maybe we'll pop that there, and we'll pop that there. And we'll just have a little play until we're happy with our composition. Might go up a little bit, might go up a little bit. So we might just do that, because then that's going to sit more comfortably. We're going to pop another leaf into there to cover that area. And we'll pop another rose into there. So my pieces are relatively stable, I think, at that point. And then we've got some more bits of greenery, because these have to happen, and these are going to help support my pieces. So I'm going to link my blue back in down here. I'm going to add, I think, the little piece tucked into there, just poking its way through, and then we're going to add some of the leaves into here. Let's turn that round just a little bit so that can sit into there. That one can tuck into there. That can sit there. We're going to pop the title Magic in there. There we are. I'll pop a little. Let's turn that round. I'll pop the little leaf into there because I think it's going to sit better. There we are. And that one can go there. Do I want to add another leaf? We might add another leaf in to there because that's going to sit more comfortably, and we're going to add, we're going to pop that one into there. So that is the approximate layout. Of course, it probably won't stay like that going forward because since when does it ever? This blue will fade as it dries. So when it's dry, it's this softer colour, and that's also fine. Yeah. So let's just pop some of my gel medium there. Hopefully that is reasonably centered. I'm hoping it is. That one can go there. Oh, so that can go there. Because I'm using gel medium, I can move these about to suit, which is also always a joy. What is the spray called? What spray, darling? Because I haven't used a spray. Well, I don't think I've used a spray. Have I used a spray? I don't think. There we are. So I can pop those into there. Let me just grab a brush. And I'm just going to, because I am using the matte gel medium, it's important that you take the excess off your project because it will dry opaque. There we are. Sarah, darling, what spray did you want, my darling? What are you talking about? There we are. So he can sit there. Right, let us now pop this lot back into place with minimum disruption. That'll be fun, won't it? There we are. Let's put that there. Let's just wipe that mess that we've added onto the top. There we are. So the Pentart stencil cleaner is literally just called that, Pentart stencil cleaner, my darling. Have I can't easily reach my pot, I'm afraid, to show you. There we are. Let's just pop this onto here. There we are. Okay. Let's just get rid of that now before we put it on. It was going to be easier. Some of this is, of course, going to be covered up, so it won't matter. There we are. So let's just add some gel medium onto here. Thank you, Maria. That's lovely of you to say so. Let me just... There we are. That's going to need a clean up, a big style clean up, but hey ho, let's just tackle that now. So the joy of the one component crackle is that it is water stable, so I can now quite happily add a wet brush to lift off the extra gel medium, and it won't disturb the crackle, which is always a helpful activity. So let's just pop that bit there. That bit can go there. And then we can add these as we want. We can move them about a little bit, so they're approximately sitting where I want them. There we are. Let's just pop that piece there. So we want that can go there. That can go there. That can go there. That can go there. You see, there we are. So we'll tuck that piece into there to stabilise that. So I've got a gap there, which we don't want leaving empty because it's going to be a pain. So let's just fill that gap with some chunky bit. Hello, darling. I take it that Facebook really is now back online. Because it's been an absolute pain. Because it definitely wasn't. And I wasn't even sure at one point whether I would be able to go live, because there we are. That's fine. So I'm just going to add these pieces onto here to help stabilise my MDF. And my Messenger account was down, and then I needed to log in. And could I remember how to log in? Could I heck? And then I couldn't get messages to sort that out. So that's just the way of the world. So I need another. I've got another gap down here I need to fill. Doesn't need to be completely filled. Add those little bits there. That will help stabilise that. Pop that onto there. Let's give you a little wipe. And then later on I will see if I can get back onto my accounts. There we go. Because it's never good, is it, when you want it to, when you're trying to go live, to find that you suddenly can't do things. There we are. So that can sit into there. That can sit on there. Just fill that up, because it's not a very nicely cast piece of resin, to be fair. It is all a bit lumpy bumpy. There is the title. There we are. And what do I want to add? I think I'm going to add that one into there. You see, I said it wouldn't end up looking exactly the same long term, didn't I? Because it never does. It never does. Let's just pop you into there. Do I want to add you into there? Or am I going to pop you into there? I think we might pop. I think we're going to pop that one into there on the wonk. Yeah. And then we'll have a little bit of a cleaning up of some of these pieces. Right, so let's just lift that up just up with a wet brush. Lift it off. Anything that you don't want, now's the time just to have a little bit of a tidy up of your project. Take off the extra. Now I could put, if I wanted to, some of the art stones into the bottom of here. That might be work. But actually for me, I'm happy with this as a completed piece. Oops, she says. So again, you could add lots of shading with your antique paste. around each of these elements. But again, for me, I have enough darkness on this piece. I've got all of my layers, I've got all of my crackle, I've got the shine, I've got my sentiment, I've got my little message. I'm just going to make sure it's straight. And I've got a piece that celebrates love. And there is nothing more magical, I think, than a pet mother's love of a child for a mother, or a mother for their child. So that is all for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay safe, enjoy the rest of your evening, and take care. Bye for now.